This is a new update that I want to kind of show you guys how what's been added to the system. And there's quite a bit has been added, some new features that I think some of you will enjoy or will hopefully will use. Um, if you well, let's first of all let's go through and take a look, and then we'll talk about testing this or being a beta user. First thing we're going to do is that when you go into what we've added, when you go into the match setup, and we'll cancel this, you will notice that we've added another match down here. And by doing that, it allows you to set up. So say that we wanted to have a wild bunch warm up, but we don't have that. So we can go ahead and by clicking on this, do you wish to change the name? Yes, we do. And we're going to call this wild bunch warm up. Okay. And now the system says that a default date and number of stages has been entered. Check these to make sure. The system does that automatically because it needs to have stages and numbers. So if we go ahead and just say okay to this, it's going to ask for a thing and say we're going to charge $30 for the warm-up. And of course it warns us and says to check your event master. Now you'll see that it put in it defaults to 4 stages and and today's date, but we can go ahead and change that to the date that the shoot's going to be, which is April, and say we're going to shoot on the 23rd. Say so they have a warm-up match on the 23rd, and again of course you have to tell it how you're going to stage or score the warm-up. So let's do it by rank, by points again. And then of course you'll notice down here that this pops up with how many points, how many shot points are there. And then if you click on this, you can go ahead and enter the number of shots per stage. If there's only 4, you can leave the rest of these. The system will only look at the first 4. But you could say that you have 12 and you could set them up with 12, whatever. So just set them up with how many you're going to be using. You will also notice when we change that code that this code over here on the tab has also been changed. So it says now instead of the additional match, this says Wild Bunch Warm Up Bonus Time. And you'll notice that there's a tab over here that's half hidden. That's what these arrows are for. So if we click on that, it'll jump over and allow us to go ahead and go into additional matches and set up this. Remember, this is for your offsite storage. If you want to send this to somebody, you can just go ahead and click this button. It's set up right now to send to me. You can put it to anybody you want it to go to, and then this just gives it a subject on the name. Also, we have the system automatically will assign a posse number if when you're entering a new shooter they don't have a SASS number, not a posse number, SASS number. And this is what the next SASS number in the system will be. A lot of people have just gone in and poked in a number. They'll pick an arbitrary number, and they can't remember what the last number was, so they'll pick another number, and if it comes up and says it's been used, they'll pick another number, and pretty soon they'll find one. The best way to handle that is to just let the system assign a number. You can go into your match master list and take a look and see what the highest number you have assigned. And if you wanted to, you could go in and edit those masters and change those SAS numbers to something different until you get down to the point where they're in this range. And you can change this to say that you have already assigned numbers up to a certain point, and you want to just put this next number, the next number in the list in here, and it will automatically then start assigning. Then you just leave that SAS number blank, and when you exit, the system will tell you that there's no SAS number there. Do you want the system to assign it? And just say yes. Okay, and if you wanted to go back, you could click here and it'll jump you back, and then you can go back to the main match. I think pretty much everything else in here I think we've gone through in some of the other videos. Okay, so if we look at the event master, we will see that the system has put in this Wild Bunch warm-up match for $30 like we had did in the setup. And we have warm-up AM, warm-up PM free. So that is pretty much set up okay. So let's then now go into, let's go ahead. Oh, one of the other things that was fixed, it's not a new feature, but it was fixed, is in the when you're adding a new shooter, before, if you added that shooter, it would let you register that shooter in, say, the main match. But if you tried to register him in one of the other matches, the system would kind of almost freeze up on you. You could get out of it, but it would kind of lock up and wouldn't let you enter it. That now has been fixed. So if you go in and add a new shooter and he's shooting in 3 or 4 matches, that'll all take care of itself. So if we register a shooter, and let's go ahead and put in my name or my shooter, and I'm going to register in the main match, and I'll just go ahead and say doesn't matter, we'll put main match first shooter, and I'm going to shoot with my wife. And let's say I also want to shoot with Second Fiddle Sue. Okay. If we go ahead and I'm going to sign up for, say, the afternoon warm-up match. And if we do that, we go down, I'm tabbing. If you tab on this, it'll jump into this. And I'm going down and saying this. Now, when I click on this, you will notice that it automatically brings over the posse with people that were set up in the regular shoot. So it's just a feature that I thought would be fairly nice to have, because if they're shooting a warm-up and even if they're not registered for the warm-up, if their shooter isn't registered for the warm-up, it doesn't matter. But at least we have people in, if you're assigning posses, at least these people want to shoot with the same people they shot in the main match with. And that works all the way through. If you put him into the Wild Bunch match, and go in, and you'll notice also that if it's Wild Bunch, and any of these can be Wild Bunch, it doesn't have to be this one. You can change this one to Wild Bunch if, say, you were just wanted it right next to it. So you can change them. But anything, if you're in the category, you have to, if you don't have the word wild, the system will not bring it up. This just kind of cuts down that category list to only those that are Wild Bunch. So make sure when you're adding categories that you say Wild Bunch, not WB traditional or WB. Put in the whole word Wild Bunch. It makes it look nicer. WB, it's kind of an abbreviation, but put that whole word in there. So it's traditional, and when I come down here, if I click on the Wild Bunch, you'll notice it also jumps and brings those in again down here. So it's just a matter of, like I said, it cleans things up a little bit. Okay. I think that's pretty much the new registration information. You'll also notice that this tab is also changed. It's also come up with Wild Bunch warm-up. And so that, and of course, it gets the registration. So if we go back here and let's go ahead and I say we paid with a check, and tab over, and it's 205, so that we paid our bill. So if we exit out of that, Let's go into posse assigning, and let's look at the warm up. And if, say, we've gone through, we can go through in this section. Let's double click on the name. Remember that if we see something wrong, that'll bring them up. If we go to his warm up PM and tab down and click on his main match warm up, it will still, this will also bring those people in that that were in the main match. So, and it also puts, so this, if you're assigning posses to your main match, a lot of times it is nice to be able to have those shooters names for who they want to shoot with, because one of the new things that I've added to the system, and let's go on to this. Let's go back and bring up the main match posses. I've added into the system so that it will automatically now, if you tried to let computer assign a posses, it didn't take into effect any of the posse width. Now the system will try using the posse width to come up and automatically assign posses. So it's not 100% accurate because of the way the system brings up people. If it goes alphabetically and it fills in, say it fills in a posse, it's not going to go over that posse limit. So if you have, I think this one will come up, will be something like 6 posses, which puts 19 people on a posse. If it fills that posse up, and it does it randomly, so if Alaskan here is say put into posse 4, he will look through, it will go through and look through this section to find anybody that wants to shoot with Alaskan, and I don't know if there are anybody we could, and it will automatically then assign that person to posse 4. And so if it fills posse 4 up and there are more people assigned, because it could randomly, if it picks out Alaskan and says, well, let's say, I need a gun, okay? And Rusty, so Anita Gunn comes up and it goes in and says, is Rusty Razor. Let's look and see if we have Rusty Razor. Now there's a quicker way of looking these people up, but I think Rusty Razors is there. So if Anita Gunn was gone ahead and he is requesting to shoot with Anita Gunn. Now if he wasn't requesting to shoot with her and it scrolled down through here and didn't find Anita Gunn, but yet when it got, and so Anita Gunn would not, Rusty Razor would not get there, but when it got to Rusty Razor, by the time it got down to him, Anita Gunn might have already had her posse filled up, and so it couldn't assign him to her posse. But that's, those are little things that even, a computer, it'll be hard to, for that computer to be jumping people around, especially when you've got some people that want to shoot with this one, other people that don't have them marked down. Now, one of the things, if you go ahead, and if you go ahead and assign, say, your posse marshals, you set up your posse marshals, you put them in a posse. The system will go through first and work on the posses that are already assigned. So if we had these posse marshals set up, the system will go through and first start grabbing posse 1, and it will find anybody that's in there that wants to shoot with, one hombre. It'll find, if, these are working, and it'll put them together. So let's go ahead and just run that real quick and see what we get. The system will come up and say that there are 114 shooters, not counting 0 shooters shoot throughs. So if you did a shoot through, and those are posse 99, all shoot throughs should be put into posse 99. That way they just had you can print their posse, their score sheets out if you want, and just let them carry them around with them, or you can put a posse 99 in each one of the stages, so when that person gets there, they'll have their posse. But anyway, let's put in 6 stages, or 6 posses, excuse me, and let's run that and see how we end up. Takes a little bit, and it will take longer depending on the number of shooters you have assigned. So here we go. Alrighty. So Wombat Hombre, Dusty Garnet is with them. Territorial Rider is with them, and Holy Rider with them. They should be in alphabetical order. So Holy Rider didn't get put into Posse 1 for some reason. So what we could do is we could go and look for Holy Rider. Now, one way to do that is if you just click into the alias and do a Control F, it will bring up that find box, and we can type in. And if you just want to type in part of the word, as long as this says any part of the field, and you can check that, and then do a find next, it says that Holy Rider isn't in that field. So he hasn't signed up yet. So that's why the system could not get him in there. So we just can't do anything with that one because he's already taken care of. But let's see, Two Sip Sue, she's there. I kind of look at these. Wombat Hombre, okay, Edward, he's there. Camby, Doc Barium, and Camby are together. So there's Chickasaw Joe, he's in there. The only ones is Old Number 4 and Tex. Big Dave didn't get in with them. So if we go looking here for Old Number 4, there's Old Number 4. He didn't get with Tex either, but let's see. So say that we wanted to put Tex or Old Number 4. Let's see, is she Second Fiddle Sue? Let's see where Second Fiddle Sue is. See, because Old Number 4 has got Opaline Annie, which is, someplace else, and Second Fiddle Sue is probably someplace else. So let's see here. Tex is in 4. There's Tex, there's Cat Blue, there's Alan. No, he's not there. Misty Marble. Depending on fast Hammer. I don't think he's registered. Trixie Tiger, I don't think she's registered. Okay, Cherokee is Toothache. Toothache is there. Tex is there. Cat is there. So those are all okay. Like I said, it's just a matter of trying to go through and find out, look for the people, check them out. It takes a little bit. It's not going to, like I said, it's not going to be 100% correct. Gold Rush Alley is fine with with Flanagan Flats. So Wildcat Kate is there, Nick Nitro is there. So it's assigned Posse 4 pretty good, but we still have that with Tex. And so like I said, just look down through, find your people if you want to change. So let's just go ahead and change. Old Number 4 wanted to be with Tex, and so Tex, we find Tex is in Posse 4. So if we go up and say, okay, let's take him and put him in 4, or Big Dave, and let's go down to 4, and we can see if we can find somebody in 4 that hasn't been requested. So Salt River Buzzard, let's see if we have anybody for Salt River Buzzard, and we don't, so we can go ahead and put them up. We'll put him up into 1, and that will rearrange the posses. And now Old Number 4, Big Dave, is with Tex. Now, like I said, it's possible to have other ones, but just go through your list. I mean, it's you know, you've got 95% of them correct, and it's just a matter of going through and doing it. Now, you could go back and clear all these posses and try it again and see how if it comes up any different, because the posses are assigned randomly. They're just gone through and randomly assigned, bang, bang, bang. So, but if that's if, you know, if you're good, you can print your posse assignment sheets and get going on that. So, okay. I've made some modifications to the some of the reports also. One of them was there was a problem in the balance payment register report. That has now been fixed. So when you look at this, this is going to show you those people that owe money or that you owe money to. So it's just a matter of you going through and checking these out and seeing, you know, if they owe you, you know, if this is correct or if you forgot to enter somebody. So this is, and this one here is an overall register. So if you jump to the bottom, it'll show you, you know, how many are in there, and your money amounts. Okay, $95. I got a $20 credit. Why isn't he showing up in there? I'll have to take a look at that. We looked like we got one. Well, that shouldn't be a credit. Oh. Okay, I know why. Okay, it's going to be, I'm going to go in and take a look at these and fix these. But this part of this data, and I should have looked at that before I started the video. Part of this data, this was wrong at the time I fixed it, and I didn't fix them all. So I'll go back and fix that, and we'll take a look at that in just a few minutes. So it'll be correct. But let's not worry about that for right now. Let me fix that, and I'll come back in just a. Okay, let's go back and take a look at that report. I went in and fixed those few that were bad, and I apologize for that. I should have done that before I started this video. But anyway, now if you look at these reports, you will see that let's make this bigger. If we go to the end and look, you'll see that these figures are correct. This will say that we owe some money out, and this also shows that, but this shows how much we brought in, and that's how much we've got to pay back. But there are some people still that owe us money, so that was just one of them. The other thing is, and I want to do a quick little finish up here. I entered some scores. So if we go into the Wild Bunch, I was doing the Wild Bunch scores. I've got a few of them here, and I'm just going to go through and show you a quick way. This is, down arrow if you don't have any misses. If you have a miss, just put them in. I'm just going to kick in some scores here. I don't know if these are good or bad, but for Wild Bunch, I think they're probably about normal. Now, if you'll notice, as soon as I hit enter on this, Sunrise Bill has gone away. And if you just click on the Swedish Cowboy here, he or whoever's next on the list, they jump up. Let me just go ahead and put some more in here. I don't want to, no one shoots Wild Bunch in 20 seconds. And 5514. And let's just finish these up, and I want to show you how the reports are working out. And click on Texas Tiger. we'll do, okay, so we'll finish up him. I hit the enter rather. Okay, so that's got them all entered. Now let's go ahead and just do the quick update of the scores. Okay, so we've got our scores updated. So now if we look and go into our reports, and usually in the Wild Bunch we do the category, and we'll click the Wild Bunch. Okay, now it says create a PDF. We can or we don't have to. I'm not gonna right now for this. I'm gonna say cancel. Now it says, do we want, if we're gonna hand out awards, do you wish the award list in reverse order? I'm gonna say yes, because reverse order, they always call the if we got 5 places, they call 5, 4, 3, 2, and then the 1. So let's put it in reverse order, and it says how many places are we going. So on this one, let's say we're going to go 5, and it comes up with our award list for the 5, and we'll cancel this. And it says, how many places for the pick list. And I'm going to put in 5 for it on a pick list pickup sheet. That's this sheet right here. And this is the one that you will, yeah, okay, so it should be, let's go ahead and look at these two. They're probably not in the same order. Let's see here. Yeah, Wild Bunch Senior is first, and that is, so it shows. So, but these are, because these are single sheets, they can be arranged in the same order as you have here. And I could look at doing that and putting those in the same order. But this is the pickup sheet, and this is what you give. So when you're handing out awards, if someone doesn't come up and pick it up, they can check this list. They don't have to check the yes, they just can check, or they can check them both. And that way you'll know that that person didn't pick up, or, and we should, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to have other, which says somebody else picked it up, and that they could write their alias in if if you wanted to. That's something we can talk about, or if you decide, think that's a good idea, let me know. But this is the list, and it kind of gives, and you'll see that it highlights the main, if they did get a clean match. So you can go ahead and say, okay, if you're calling off the Wild Bunch and you're down here, you can Swedish Cowboy, third place Swedish Cowboy with a clean match from New Mexico. And so it kind of, there's ways that you can do that. But anyway, that's kind of how things were, are the new things. So these all come up at once, and you can just go ahead and print them out, as many copies as you want. You can do that. And then of course when you go into your match final, it's the same thing. You got your match final. Now in Wild Bunch, the match final, of course, it recalculates everything so that the match final is not by category, but it's just by who shot everything the fastest. And it's by your total points. So, it's so much per points. And you look at your points, and that's who the person with the most points wins. Okay. If you do an awards list, we kind of do the same thing. Do you want the awards list? Yes, we do. How many places on the pickup? We're going to say 5, or 4, not 6, 5. And no. And that's the awards list. That's the pickup list. It doesn't print out the full awards list, and maybe we should do that, and I can take a look at that. But for right now, like I said, this is still in testing, and what I would like, if there's any of you guys out there that would like to get this and be a tester for it. Most of it, like I said, is pretty good. There are a few things that, like I was saying, that we could look at ahead of time and like adding to this award list, adding them both so we end up with them both, and I can do that. So let's go ahead, and that's about it for the new setup. So if you have any questions, or just give me an email, cdtom73@hotmail.com. Okay, thank you very much.